Okay.
What are leadership derailers that you see? What are the big no-nos that you say, you see leaders, make those missteps and you say, gosh, yeah, boy, we need to try and avoid those?
Well, I think we talked about one particularly already is hoarding, thinking that you have to do everything, thinking that you have to be available all the time. Having worked with healthcare organizations for such a long time, you have 24-hour shifts. So I literally, no kidding, just this morning had a conversation with a healthcare leader I was coaching that we were doing by Zoom, and he said, I'm getting these calls at 3:00 in the morning. I said, well, that can't happen. I mean, life and death, I get it, but these are just simple questions that probably could have waited till 6:00 when I'm awake, or I'm at the office at 7. It's that idea that we don't have to always be available. Yeah. I think the other is thinking that, and this is such an important one. I see this happen so many times where a peer, you have like 3 peers in a department, and one of them gets promoted as the leader, and they think the other 2 have animosity toward them, or they think, oh, I don't know what my peers are going to think now I'm the boss. And in reality, the only person that has trouble with that problem is the new boss. They don't mind. They know you got promoted to that position. They know you're the leader. They're going to pretty much follow or listen to what you have to say. You think they're thinking that. And this is a key, is I think new leaders think their team is thinking things that they aren't thinking, because that's what they're feeling, and they're projecting that feeling onto their team. And for the most part, my sense is it has not happened that way. Yeah. So those are probably 2 things that I think are really a big deal.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so I think a good way for us to start to land our plane here around leadership. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this question. Let's pull out our magic crystal ball. Let's shake it up. Let's stick it in front of you. Let's look into the future. Yeah. What do you see as the future of leadership? The next maybe 3 to 5 years, or you could go beyond that if you want to. But with the pandemic and how the world has just changed in so many ways in the last 18 months to 2 years, I'd be curious. Where do you see leadership going, Mark? What are some of the things that maybe will always be true, or maybe the things that you see needing to change?
That's a great question. That's an interesting question. I have to think about that for a second. I like the way that leadership has changed in many ways in the last year and a half, that people are starting to think differently about how they lead. I teach a lot on change leadership. Some people may call it change management. Change management to me is these things are thrown at you and you try to juggle them and manage them, and you're managing change. That happens. But wouldn't you rather be in a position to lead change? And I think we've learned that we need to be in a position to lead change, meaning that I'm going to look forward and I'm going to see that there might be 2 or 3 things coming, and I'm going to lead us into those changes that we need to make so that we're better prepared. When I've done a lot of speaking in this last year on this idea of rebounding, and there's a definitions of rebound. And you think of rebound as to bounce back, right? Well, there's actually a definition of rebound. The 4th one in Webster's dictionary says to rebound better than before. Now that's a whole different mindset when you think of rebounding. It's not just bouncing back and everything's back to normal. It's bouncing back and being better than we were before. And that's where change leadership comes in versus change management. And I hope that people have grasped that.
Welding together practical insights and powerful conversations to forge world-class leaders. This is the Leadership Foundry podcast.